doesn't feel like it today, and believe me, I have, when I moved out here, 5 years ago, I adapted quite nicely to the warmer climate. So I'm from Indiana, went to college in Indiana, and it feels colder up in Indiana today than it does out here, but we want the warm. Before we go on with the Q&A with J.J. Picollo and our new manager, Darryl, I'd like to introduce the owner of the Kansas City Royals, Mr. David Glass.
I couldn't pass up this opportunity. Justin was reminding me that we will begin our 12th season for the Naturals here, and it's unbelievable to me that 12 seasons have gone by. But I still am so appreciative of the fact that Springdale stepped up and built a stadium out here that is sort of state-of-the-art for a AA team. We've enjoyed it. Everybody loves it. Works well, and it will continue to be an aspect of this community. But you know, I love watching baseball here. We've had some really good young players come through here. Many of you will remember when Haas and Moose and Perez and the core of our group that went to the World Series in 14, won the World Series in 15, were here. They won a championship here. Fun to watch. You knew they were going to be good. I will tell you that I believe that we have another group coming through, not in the not too distant future, Northwest Arkansas, who will be every bit as good or better than those kids were. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We want to win, Darryl, we want to win not only in Kansas City, but we want to win here as well. So it's a lot more fun to watch when we win, right? But anyway, thanks for the support for this from this community and from all of you. And we're going to have a great year, and I'm ready to get it started. Thanks for being here.
It's always a great event when we can come here, but in general, just the support of this community, bringing the Naturals here, but continuing to sustain it and support us. It means a lot to myself, our staff, and I can't say enough about those things. This is always a really fun event because it's the unofficial kind of first domino that we start tipping over that leads us to April 4th, which is the opening day of season 12 already of the Naturals at our best ballpark. Pretty hard to believe that we've already had 11 seasons under our belt, but really excited to get the 12th one underway. I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I'd rather y'all be able to interact with our new manager, Kennedy, and J.J., who was gracious enough to come down from Kansas City for this. But opening day is April 4th. We're really excited for this coming season. We try to make everyone extra special. This one hopefully will be no different. Next week you'll hear a lot about our specific promotions, so I don't want to say too much because I want that announcement to have a lot of weight to it. But we're going to have 16 fireworks shows out of our 70 games. That does not include the 4th of July. It's a non-game day this year, so we'll do our 4th of July show. Naturals are out of town, so technically there's 17. I was looking at it this morning. We're planning 17 fan giveaways, so bobblehead, t-shirt, cap. So 33 of our 70 games are going to have one of those premium items attached to it. The other games, there's going to be a food discount for Thursday, kids eat free. We're going to have a new promotion on Wednesdays that'll get you some discount barbecue sliders that we're excited about. So always trying to add to that. Our facility continues to be in excellent shape. We have a great partnership with the Public Facilities Board and the City of Springdale, continuing to keep the ballpark just as great as it was when it was built. I hope you still see that when you come out and feel that. And last but not least, visit NWANaturals.com. If we can ever be of any help, come see us. Tickets, if you have an event, you can donate to it. Have our mascots there. We want to continue to help out however we can. So please don't hesitate to come find us over there at the ballpark. And we want to continue what's been a first great 11 seasons and have our best one yet here in season 12. So thank you again, and I'll turn it back over to Benjamin and let you hear from the folks you really want to hear from. Thank you.
Coming off a 70-win season last year that had a lot of prospects, a lot of good talent. You should see a lot of that talent return, and some of the talent that the Royals have drafted over the last couple of years spring their way here to Northwest Arkansas to continue to give us a winning ball club and a fun baseball environment. So the way this will work is I'll kick it off with a question for Darryl, and he can kind of just tell us a little bit about himself, his background, and we'll open it up to a Q&A with you guys, if that works. So Darryl, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see, where do we start? I was drafted in 1991 by the Texas Rangers, played with them. Was the old infamous player named Lair. Went to the Giants for a couple seasons, and then I went back to the Rangers as a manager. Managed with them for 10, 12 years, something like that, and came over with the Royals. I've been here ever since. Married, 3 kids, got a freshman in college, junior college in Missouri, and then I have a 15-year-old daughter in high school, and then a 10-year-old son, which is a handful.
So I guess to kick this off, if anybody has any questions, I'll just call on you if there's any. But some initial questions on my behalf. So getting back into the Texas League, you mentioned that you were with the Rangers organization. You managed in Frisco for a few years. Actually had Steve Luker, I believe, as your pitching coach. What are you most excited about getting back into the Texas League for?
The biggest thing is double A. You know, it's the players have all kind of figured out who they are, developed enough to where it's you know, the closest you're going to get to Major League Baseball. And you know, I'm excited about being back in this league. I love the Texas League. It's 8 teams, and you know, I always look at that as when the year's over, you know exactly what kind of player you have because they make adjustments on you. You play them so many times that the player has to make an adjustment, and that's what this game's about. You have to be able to make the adjustment to succeed, and you know, I'm really looking forward to that.
Any questions?
Darryl, can you talk a little bit about your staff that's going to be with you this year?
Yeah, Doug Henry will be my pitching coach. He was with me in Wilmington last year. Abraham Nunez will be the hitting coach. Nelson Liriano will be our 4th coach and have, you know, numerous roles within the daily you know, goings on with the team. And then our trainer will be Justin Kemp. We lost our trainer a week ago that was supposed to be here, James Stone. He went to AAA, so Justin Kemp's coming in. And then our strength and conditioning coach will be Will Gilmore.
And all that staff was with you in Wilmington?
Everyone except Justin Kemp. Yeah. James Stone, who was originally coming here, was with us, but he got the promotion.
And just one final question, what sort of advantage is that for you and the club?
I think it's huge because they know how I work, I know how they work, and you know, it just frees up all the attention and stuff for the players. You know, and that's what this is about. It's about the players. It's not about my career. It's not about Doug's career. But it's about the players. And if we can put them in a comfortable situation as much as possible, then it makes, you know, everything. All they have to do is go out and play the game. And when you have a staff that worked like we did last year, you know, it made our jobs really easy. So it couldn't have worked out any better than the way it did with all of us coming together.
Any other questions?
This is probably for J.J., but Mr. Glass alluded to a group of good players coming. Can you tell us maybe about 2 or 3 of your best prospects that we may see here soon?
Yeah, we, the last 2 years, our draft has been very good in our eyes. We're very happy with the early returns on the draft. So 2017 was high school position players. Nick Prado was our first pick, MJ Melendez was our second pick. They're right around the same ages as some of our better international players, Sulu Matias, Sebastian Rivero, another catcher. And then this year, intentionally but somewhat unintentionally, as far as how many college pitchers we ended up taking, we were very focused, much like a few years back when we had Hosmer and Stockis, and then we selected Aaron Crow. We were trying to get a college pitcher that can join in with that particular group, and then you have both ends of the ball protected. So last year's draft picks, Brady Singer, who didn't pitch last summer, he pitched in the instructional league, was our first pick. Jackson Coar from the University of Florida as well was our second pick, and Daniel Lynch was our third pick. Both of those last two, the latter, were sandwich picks between the first and second round. Daniel Lynch went out and had a great summer. So fortunately, as Mr. Glass alluded to, and I think you all want to see championships. That team won a championship in the South Atlantic League. So, the stepping stones, the building blocks that we're trying to establish, what we did previously, has started in Lexington, and hopefully they'll make their way here as well.
Darryl, I think one nice thing about this transition for you especially is that you've had a chance to see a good number of these guys already. You spent a whole year with them in Wilmington, and I actually reached out to a couple of guys last week, and one thing they said that they liked about you as a manager is that you give guys an opportunity to succeed. You put them in an opportunity to succeed. And they enjoyed the environment. The clubhouse, they said they really enjoyed coming to the ballpark. So can you describe for us what maybe your managerial style is and that clubhouse vibe that maybe fans can get a taste of?
Oh, they actually said something nice. No, it's a game. It's a baseball game. It's not life or death. And I like to have fun, but there's a line to be drawn, and I give them as much as I can to enjoy this game. And you can't play this game upset or you can't do it. And one of the very first things I stress to these guys is you're going to make errors, you're going to strike out, you're going to give up home runs. It's the game. So don't dwell on it. I don't dwell on it. We just work at it. And I'm glad to hear the guys enjoy coming to the park.
Before we move on, I do want to thank Coach Norm DeBrine for being here and his wife Caroline, and Kevin Trader, one of the Associate Athletic Directors up at the University of Arkansas. So we do thank you guys for being here. And everybody's excited for the Razorback season coming up, so hopefully they get off to a great start and it just carries over right into the national season, so we continue to cultivate and enjoy that great baseball culture that this area of the state has. Any other questions for? Yes, sir.
Will Brady Singer, the new pitcher, come through here this year?
Well, I think time will tell. We certainly feel like he has the ability to be here this year, as well as the other two I mentioned. How soon that would be, I think we just have to monitor their progress as we go. But they're advanced college pitchers, had a lot of success in college, won in the College World Series. So we're not going to put any artificial ceiling on them this year. So if they're ready to be here, we'll be ready for them to come.
J.J., staff-wise, player-wise, anything at the Royals going to change much? And secondly, any rehab assignments you know of or anything that are going to come through here?
Well, fortunately, we don't have anybody really hurt right now. Jesse Hahn, so there's a possibility with Jesse who will start the year on the disabled list. But as you were referring to our major league staff, well, the sort of the elephant in the room is everybody wants to know how long is Ned Yost going to manage. Dayton's message to Ned is really, you can manage as long as you like to. I mean, we love Ned's leadership. The phase that we're in right now, we don't like to use the word rebuild. We're in more of a transitional phase. Ned's been through it. He's been through it in Milwaukee. He's been through it with us. So his leadership and his belief in young players is something that young players can really build off of. When they know they have a manager, it's not going to be in the general manager's office saying, send him to AAA. We went through a lot with Osborne and Mustakas. There were times we could have sent him down. Really, it was Ned that was the one that was saying, if we're going to win down the road, we need to go through these growing pains. So we have some players that are of similar ilk right now. So we need to give them the time. That's why we believe in Ned as our manager. With that said, the coming year, 2 years, we're anticipating that Ned's not going to go much longer. But you just start formulating ideas and what can we do? What's the strengths of our staff so we So whenever Ned decides and Nate decides, you know, it might be time, now we're prepared for it.
JJ, can you give a little bit of an update on Frankie there in Omaha and Nikki?
Frank Schwindel?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Ryan, just kind of how those three guys are moving forward with the current process.
Ryan O'Hara?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start with Frank and Ryan, because they've had such a natural competitiveness. They've come through the minor leagues together. Frank has always put up tremendous numbers wherever he's been, and arguably could have been the one that got the shot last year. But, you know, that's why we employ our scouts, and we trust what our staff tells us, who's more prepared at this moment. Because when you go to Kansas City, regardless of what phase you're in, every night's about winning that game tonight. So who would give us the best chance to win tonight? Ryan, being a left-handed hitter, gave him a little bit of an edge over Frank at that moment, and Ryan took great advantage of the opportunity he was given him. And that's not to take anything away from Frank. Frank is a tremendous competitor. He's a great teammate. He pulls for Ryan all the time, which is why I think his teammates love him. You win with players like that. So we're happy Frank's still in our organization, and hopefully he gets a chance and does a lot of the same. And with Nicky Lopez, he's just a very mature, passionate, infectious personality. He's a leader on the field. I was asked this question last week at another event, and they asked me to compare him to somebody. And the only person I could really think of was a little bit of Chris Getz. And for those of you who remember Chris Getz's greatest asset was that he was a leader on the field. Quiet person, you know, not your superstar type player. And I think Nicky's got a higher ceiling than Getz. Can't say that Getz, but the leadership qualities and the ability to help others on the field is what you want out of somebody in the middle of the infield. And more than anything, from an offensive standpoint, we battle, and DK could tell you, we battle getting players to understand what their strengths are and accept their roles. Nicky from day one understood what he is and what his job is as an offensive player, and that's why he's excelling. So, you know, we have high hopes for all three of them. And hopefully they're guys that will be part of this next wave of players.
Any other questions? You guys are excited for baseball season? Yeah. Well, I got a few more. Naturally. Darryl, just getting back to you. You know, I'm curious, with your background in managing, who was your biggest managerial influence, and who is today?
Well, there's two guys I played for in the minor leagues that I take a lot after. One of them was Bobby Jones, that spent a lot of years in the Texas League. I played for him in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, you know, Bobby was the guy that, you know, created that, you know, when it's a game, it's not life or death. He always talked about the story of being in Vietnam, and that's why I can't hear out of one of his ears, because the grenade, you know, went off close to him and he lost his hearing. And I remember I think it was my first full season, I was in AA playing, and I remember listening to him, and I was like, wow, you're right, you know? So he's probably the main guy that I really try to emulate. And then the other one was Ron Wotus, who's, since I played for him, has been in the big leagues as a bench coach for years and interviewed for managing jobs. But what I got from Ron was, it didn't matter what time you got to the ballpark. If you got there at 12 o'clock, you walked in and you knew exactly what you were doing that day. He was as prepared for players as I ever played for. He had, you know, scouting reports and spray charts and all that. And this was way back before all the computers came about. So I mean, he really, you knew that when that game started, you were prepared for it as a player. And I try to do that as much as I can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you've got your lineup for the evening or for the week. You know who's going to play where. And then all of a sudden you get a call, somebody gets a call from Omaha or Kansas City, and that whole thing is disrupted. How do you handle that?
Who's next? You know what, those are challenges, like JJ and I talked about this a lot over the years, but those are challenges that I love as a manager to take on. You know, I may lose one of my bullpen guys, and I got to play short, or I lose a infielder here, or catcher, you know, he's like, do you need anybody? I'm like, no, we're good. And he's like, well, you only have, you know, one extra guy, so we can manage. You know, that for me is the personal part of, I can do it. And I just, that's something I love to do. And when I get challenges like that, those are good challenges because that means that the players want it. Or, you know, and like I said before, that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
Just to add to that, so Darryl and I started working together at the start of the '07 season. He came highly recommended. Our scouting director played with Darryl in the minor leagues, and Lonnie Goldberg recommended Darryl right away. And he's being very humble right now, which is his personality, but he is very, very good to work with from our perspective, because there are some difficult times where you look up and there's 10 position players and there's only 11 pitchers, and we just played 15 innings, and it's sort of taking care of itself now. But he's always been the manager for us, and Brian Goldberg was very good at this, and Vance was very good at this. Whatever we got, that's what we're going with tonight, because it's an opportunity for another player who maybe hasn't gotten 15 at-bats in the league, 20. It's his chance to play. And that makes our job in managing the minor leagues so much easier and so much more pleasant to deal with. The other thing I want to mention about DK is, go back, I always forget the year, Idaho Falls year. 09, DK was managing Idaho Falls. And I get to town, and the first thing he says, look, we're playing horrible defense, and I'm not going to rest until these guys know where to go on the field, when to go where, and they catch the ball and they get outs. So if it's okay with you, I don't want to take batting practice this week. We're just going to run through defensive drills and cuts and relays. I said, DK, you're the manager. If that's what you think you need to do, you do it. The point with that is he's a perfectionist, and he understands what players need to do to get to the next level. And when players pass on from one manager to the next, if that next manager has players who know where to go and how to handle the ball, they should be thanking the manager before, and that's what's always driven Darryl in managing. Now, he wants to win at 7 o'clock, but he knows what needs to be done prior to 7 o'clock. So that's a big reason why Darryl's in this position here and has managed with us for so long.
I'd like to hear both of your opinion about where baseball will be 5 years from now, the emphasis of home runs, the de-emphasis of strikeouts, and the organizational philosophy. So,
organizational philosophy is not going to change. We believe in putting the ball in play and action. We want action players. We want to be able to steal bases. We need to be able to move runners. We were just having this discussion earlier today. The team that wins the World Series is the one that did that the best in the playoffs. So why not do it all season long? The emphasis on home runs and the lack of regard for strikeouts doesn't sit well with us. That's not how we want to play baseball. We won a World Series because we took a pitching staff that struck a lot of people out and they couldn't strike us out. So we've seen that work, and just in our minds, we're not going to change because the game is changing. Now, what we do need to learn is what's out there and why are teams taking this approach. But if you throw strikes, you catch the ball, situationally hit it well at the right time, you win baseball games. And that's going to be the formula forever. You can try to outslug people and hit 3-run homers and live and die on that, but you're probably not going to win more often than you lose. So that's just our philosophy. I could go on and on. I'll let DK talk about this, but the advent of shifts and how offense is being impacted by it, I think it's just time for players to accept there's other ways to play the game, which is really the way it was played 20 and 50 years ago. It's just what we deal with is the youth of today are brought up in a showcase world where team doesn't matter as much. So our job, and I'll let DK pick up on this, is how do we teach them the sense of team? How do we teach them the sense of unity? And if we can do that, we'll win. So,
well, You know, first of all, I think I saw an article and they were talking about strikeouts and how strikeouts going through the roof in the game. 4 out of the last 5, I think it is, World Series champions led the major leagues in the least amount of strikeouts. So that right there is proof, you know. But my biggest thing with the game is, you know, I know the biggest thing out there now is the launch angle. Launch angle's been around forever. We just didn't know what it was. We didn't call it a catchy little, you know, name. But yeah, I always tell him, Tony Gwynn has a statue in front of San Diego State, and if you look at it, he's got a launch angle, you know, but nobody talked about it. So I mean, the game's just evolved and it's gotten more technical, but I still think it's a game. And even though we're going through this, a lot of strikeouts, it's going to evolve back, you know. So I don't really worry about it. I dive into it as much as I can and study it, but you know, when it comes 7 o'clock, it's a game of baseball.
I always like a good ejection story, like get thrown out. So I want to hear your best, or if you were involved and it was a friend, you don't have to rat yourself out. Somebody else that you saw that was a great story we need to know about.
Can I go top 5 with myself? No, I'm just kidding. Probably the funniest ejection I ever had was I got thrown out from the dugout and threw my hat as I'm running out to the dugout. So I argued for about 5 or 10 minutes, screaming at the guy, say what I had to say, kick some dirt on the plate, and then walk back, and this lady comes down from about 8 rows up to hand me my hat, and I throw it all the way up in the stands. But I've been known to get ejected when the timing's right, but you know, I don't go too crazy. I make it fun.
Speaking of home runs, do you have any comments on, being an old umpire, do you have any comments on the strike zone?
It's a good question. Yeah, I think it is. You know, if they call it according to the rule book, if they call it according to the rule book and are consistent with it, I don't think anybody would have any problem with it, you know, any problem with it. But the problem is the consistency. And but if an umpire starts calling a high strike, then call it consistent, both sides. You know, and if they do that, there's nothing to argue about. You know, the problem is when one inning is this way, the next inning is this way. But I've always thought that the strike zone was a little too small for me personally.
I think you would think if the strike zone was bigger, there'd be more strikeouts. But what happens is, because the strike zone is small, hitters take more pitches, they take more strikes, and it has an adverse effect. You know, so I do think when hitters get into the mindset of I'm going to be aggressive early in the count, and you know, within reason, strikeouts will go down, and nobody will complain about the umpire strike zone.
Two things. One, do you think shifts will be outlawed, and do you think they should be outlawed?
It's a very hot topic right now. Enough that, you know, I think it's reaching the levels of the game that it's going to be considered. At the end of the day, I personally don't think they're going to outlaw them. There's pros and cons. You know, the sentiment that I hear more of my counterparts talk about is essentially, you know, a line from second base. You're not allowed to cross over, start on the other side of the line. I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. Actually, Mr. Glass probably has a better idea about that than I do. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I do have. everybody, not everybody, but there's a lot of people right now who wants to outlaw shifts. I started watching Major League Baseball someone took me to my first game in 1946. And so I've seen several generations of players play. The players that I used to watch when I was a kid, if they came to the plate and the other team went into a shift, they would have died laughing. And they would have poked the ball through the hole and the shift would have gone away. It's not Major League Baseball's place to eliminate shifts. When Major League Baseball starts telling Major League teams where they can position their players, then there's something wrong. If the Royals want to have 4 outfielders, great. If they want to take one of the outfielders and put them on the infield, super. It's up to the hitters to eliminate the shifts. And until they get these kids' attention and they start looking at the game like the players used to look at it, then they're going to have problems. But I watch these kids that think that they're big-time hitters, that pull the ball all the time, that believe they can hit it through the shift or over the shift. Doesn't bother them to consistently make outs. That's not the way the game's supposed to be played. But someone else should not tell us where or how we can position our players.
I'm glad we agree.
I got a question for Mr. Glass. Could you tell us what it's been like working with the current commissioner of baseball?
You know, Rob Manfred has been with baseball for, he was our labor attorney for many years. I think Rob maybe came in the early 90s. So he's been around a long time. He knows the game really well. He was sort of Bud's right-hand man. He's taken a very, I think, positive approach to the game. He is motivated. I work with him on a lot of different committees, and his first approach always is what's in the best interest of the game. He doesn't play favorites. Bud had a tendency to, he owned Milwaukee, and even though there was a wall between him and the club, it's hard to not, feel one way or the other. But Rob's doing a really good job. We just renewed him for another term based on his performance. And I'm really proud of the approach he's taken. It's been very objective and still what's in the best interest of the game, and he continues to work in that regard.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Mr. Kennedy, how do you handle all the different personalities in the dugout? You have all sorts of different cultures, and as they pointed out, you've got the guys that go to all the summer showcases, and you have the kid that grows up in the Dominican at age 17 who gets signed, and all of a sudden they're all thrown in together. How do you handle those personalities? And then, in addition to that, for several years you're going to see guys kind of throw tantrums and not run stuff out. And at what point do you handle that? I know that the managers in the past haven't done it like a high school coach might have, as they're walking onto the field. But how do you handle that, and when do you handle that?
Well, first of all, the cultural differences. I was fortunate enough to play 1 year in the Dominican Republic, and then I was fortunate enough to coach in Venezuela parts of about 10 seasons in the winter. So I got to go where they're from, to go see what they live like, saw their background, and when I went over there, I made sure I did everything they did. I wasn't the person that, I'm just gonna stick to the safe things, especially when it was food in Venezuela. I tried to be Venezuelan, even though I'm white as heck. I tried to fit in. And I wanted to do that because when that kid comes over at 17 and he steps over here in the United States, whether it's rookie ball or full season or wherever it is, I want to know what he's gone through so I can help him here. And I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I can survive pretty good on a baseball field with him. Or even at a restaurant, I can survive with them. But that's how I try to handle those guys. And I feel that me stepping out of my comfort zone and going over there, they know that, and they respect that, and they appreciate that. And then as far as the discipline part of it, I'm a little bit of an old school guy. I was taught to play the game hard and play it at 100% as much as you could. And, you know, I'll take them out of the game, won't say anything to them. A lot of times this gets me in trouble with this group because I'll just take them out of the game, sit them on the bench, and then not play them the next day. And I wait for them to come in my office, and then they don't come in the office, and I don't play them the next day, and they don't come in the office, and then finally I'm like, what's going on? So I have to go to them. But, yeah, I mean, I believe you got to play the game one way, and you hustle, and you run games, balls out. Now, I can't take them and make them run, you know, laps around the field afterwards. That doesn't work, but, you know, the discipline part of it's a big part of this game. And, you know, I try to give them a little bit of space, but, you know, I'm not going to let them hang them.
Who's the best player you've ever coached and what made him the best in your eye?
Well, I mean, for me, the best player that I've ever managed for a, you know, lengthy amount of time was probably Hank Blaylock. You know what? Scratch that. Ian Kinsler. Mizzou guy, right? Yeah. But Ian Kinsler probably was the best, who's turned out to have the best career out of the guys that I've managed. I kind of slithered through Haas and Moose and those guys in our system and never really had them much. But yeah, I would say Ian, and what he did was he was a 17th round pick, I think, for the Rangers. Opening day, and he wasn't even the starting guy, you know, and I let him play one day. He did okay. I set him in. The guy was struggling. Ian never said a word. He sat there. He cheered on his teammates. He was a good teammate. And I put him in there again. He did good. Oh, let's try him again. I put him in there, and then, you know, the rest was history. And looking back at it, was the way he handled not playing was unbelievable, because this guy was way better than the guy that I was playing. And it took me a few weeks to finally realize that. But the way he handled those first 2 weeks really stuck out. The other guy, Hank Blaylock, he could rake. I mean, he could hit. And he injuries, I think, kind of shortened his career, but he just came to the ballpark every day, and you couldn't hurt him. You know, no matter what you did, you couldn't hurt him. And he sticks out. You know, probably that's when he jumped out of my mind, because I can remember we were taking infield every day, and one of the guys was complaining about it. We got to take infield again, and Hank goes, every day, bring it. So it was fun.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today, but how about one more round of applause?